In my life, I got a good man in my life. No more games and no more lies, and he never makes me cry. I got a good man in my life.
So, ladies, we've talked about this before, but we're going to talk about it again because I'm seeing people still making new videos and talking about it, and it is going to get worse as women keep finding out who they are and who men are and seeing that they are not compatible. And if you're here, you saw the title, you saw the thumbnail, and yes, women are divorcing the good guy, and there are people coming for them, men and women, who don't understand why women are divorcing the so-called quote unquote good guy. But in my opinion, well, it's not an opinion, the good guy is subjective. Men think they're good, but we're going to talk about it, y'all. Good is subjective to men and women, but for some reason they're just not catching on that what they think is good now is no longer good for women. It's not good enough for women. And what I'm seeing is women are leaving because they are being emotionally neglected. They're being ignored. They're not being helped. And if that's the case, he's not necessarily a good guy if he's not trying to listen to her about how she feels, about what's going on in her mind and her heart, about the things that she cares about and is passionate about. He could be, from the outside looking in, the perfect guy, funny to everybody. He has bought her a house and cars, and he takes care of his kids. He does all the things that the patriarchy and people say that men should do as husbands. But as women are evolving, as we always do, we're seeing that women are saying left and right, I left the good guy. And we're still seeing male-centered pick-me women saying women are crazy, they're leaving good men. And I'm like, why do y'all care? If women are leaving good men, that means there are a lot of good men out there for you to get. Why do they care? Like, I see why the men are mad, because if women are leaving so-called good men, a lot of them don't have a chance. But the women who are out here saying they can't find a good man, I don't understand why y'all are mad. If all of these women are leaving their so-called good men, that gives you like 1,000 times more chances for you to get you a good man if you're single. If you're a pygmy male-centered woman who still wants a man and still wants to date and still wants to be married. So why are you coming against these women? They're putting them back in the dating pool for you to go out and grab. More for you. You should be on their side and you should be happy instead of coming at them talking about these women are crazy, they're leaving good men. Okay, well, sis, do you and leave these women alone. But we're going to talk about it. We're going to keep talking about it, and I'll be back. I'll be in and out as usual after this.
I married the nice guy, the guy who made me laugh. I married the guy who was stable, who didn't yell. I married the guy who wasn't afraid to get down on the floor and play with kids. I married the guy who laughed really loudly, who didn't seem to care if anybody was watching. I married the guy who was soft with me, who listened to me on the phone for hours.
Spoiler alert, guys, they are separated, heading towards divorce, which is so disappointing, and exactly why so many will say that a man will sacrifice his happiness for his family and a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness. And it is exactly when loyalty and commitment is not valued over individual happiness. In these situations, 100% of the time, the grass is not greener, and the woman ends up regretting the divorce. But what's unfair and unfortunate for men oftentimes that are committed, that are loyal, they have to go through this sort of loss, and that kind of stinks.
The most dangerous man you'll ever meet won't show up how you probably expect him to. At 48, I've had 3 husbands, and I learned this the hard way, and I'm on a mission to help women avoid making the same mistakes I did. The most dangerous men do not present as the obvious villain. They present as the nice guy. He's the guy buying everyone's beer, opening doors for women, helping strangers, walking elderly people across the street, serving his community. Everyone loves him, but they don't know him. He is a performer. If you want to know whether a man is genuinely kind, don't watch the performance. Look at their pattern. Learn his history. Observe who remains in his life versus who left and removed all access. That will tell you everything you need to
Oh, shit. Here we go. All right. So we get it. Here's the gaslighting part. So look, she said she married a normal, good guy. But now here it comes but what I am is I'm just pleasing everybody else. And I put everyone before me. I come last. And I was the perfect girl. But now I've evolved. All right. So let's see what happens. She's talking about she married the nice guy, but she doesn't want to marry him anymore. She don't want to be married to him anymore. She wants new adventure, a thrill. She wants to be destroyed. Okay, so let's see what else you got to say.
He married the girl that said, yes, let me show up and do more. He
Gaslighting
married the girl
us?
who
Okay.
said, I have absolutely no needs.
Bullshit.
None.
Okay.
Why would I have needs when I can show up and take care of you?
What?
He married the
What?
girl who said, I am low maintenance. Just like one of the guys. I'll sit and watch sports with you for hours. You need to watch a rom-com? No, I'm good. It's okay. We'll do this. We'll do what you want to do.
I hear the scorn coming out. I hear the nastiness, the feminazi coming out of her.
20 years later,
20
after
years.
realization after realization, after year, realizing this isn't what I signed up for. This isn't what I thought marriage was going to be.
I thought it was going to be abusive
The
and
struggles that
exciting.
we've had aren't getting any better. They just seem to be replicating themselves and getting worse. I started looking around at my kids and seeing children
Not
who
the
needed
kids.
more from their parents.
After talking to hundreds of you guys, I've realized something that I need to get off my chest. It is the men who are actually trying to save the relationships here, not the women. And what's crazy is that most of the women I've actually talked to and had consultation with tell me that their husbands are the ones sending them my videos. And that says everything. 70 to 80% of divorces are filed by women. That is not trying to fix a marriage. That is walking away from it. Most women threaten divorce long before they're ever ready to file. They use it as leverage until the man finally hits his breaking point and says, I'm done. And once he does say I'm done, that's when the gaslighting starts. She flips the script, plays the victim, promises to change, cries, manipulates, you name it. Anything to pull him back in because the control is slipping from her end. But when a man truly checks out, it's not loud, it is quiet, and it is final, and you've lost him. When a good man walks away, it is not because he stopped caring. It's because he cared too long and nobody met him halfway. So if you're watching this, man or woman, ask yourself, are you really trying to build your relationship and save it? Or are you slowly tearing it apart while you're convincing yourself that you're the one being wronged?
So the reason I showed that video is because I had passed by a video scrolling about a woman who had divorced the good guy. I think that's her whole TikTok about divorcing the good guy. And I was looking for her content, so I went up in the search bar and I searched woman who divorced the good guy. And oh my God, I couldn't believe how many women were divorcing good guys. I don't know what a good guy is. Maybe each of those women have different understanding of what the good guy is. But what the reality to me is that there's a lot of women, I didn't want to say all women, I don't want to generalize. There is a lot of women who get married based on an idea of what they think marriage is supposed to be.
And they get married with this idea because TV programs us, and the women around us who are married lie about their marriages. So they go into these marriages not knowing anything because other women are lying about their marriages. But the women who are not male-centered pick-me's who are married are not lying. They're speaking out about the majority of men and what's going on in most of these marriages.
I feel that women don't take the vows seriously in these situations. I don't want to generalize. I don't think they take the vows of the marriage until death do us part, through sickness and through health.
Women take these vows very seriously. That's why women stay when men are putting hands and feet on them. Women stay through cheating. Most of the time, men take women out in these marriages because women stay through a lot of stuff. So I would say that women are taking it really seriously. Too seriously, actually.
Bad, rich and poor. In fact, I'm a wedding officiant. People don't even put those vows in the wedding ceremonies anymore because I do believe that they're trying it out.
And I can guarantee you it's the women that aren't putting those in the vows anymore because the men are not doing that. Women are the ones who are expected to live up to those vows through sickness and health. Like we've heard many times before, when women get sick, terminally ill with cancer, the nurses and doctors are warning them that their husbands are probably going to leave them. Y'all, they're literally having to tell the patients that their husbands might leave them because it's happening so much. So I think it's probably women who are saying, I'm not going to vow to do that. I'm not going to promise that, because they know that that vow is mainly for them.
Women like dating.
Not in 2026. Women don't like dating.
Dating can be exciting. It can be exhilarating. It could be fun.
It could be if you don't get stalked, raped, or murdered.
And then when they tie the knot, I think they start to miss all those initial, feelings and butterflies, and they kind of dissipate and go away.
As a woman who rarely goes on a date, rarely gets gifts from my husband because I told him not to. I don't go on dates because I don't like to go on dates. I like to be in my house. I like to just make my own food. I like to be around my house. I like to watch movies here. I like to do date nights in. As a woman that does all that, I can honestly say that I'm listening to women, and that's not what women are upset about. It's not even close to what women are complaining about that they're missing in these relationships.
So when I'm looking at these videos about women who divorced the good guy, it's because now he's settled in, he's nesting, he's playing video games maybe, he's hanging out with his boys, his friends. Maybe he doesn't bring flowers as much, because they say you have to keep dating through your whole marriage. I try and do that in my marriage. Not always great at it, but I tried to remember those things that women like about dating. Not always for me, but it's to keep my wife excited and in the relationship. We go on weekend trips. We just try and keep that spark going. Like get a dog, get a cat, have a kid, whatever. If she's watching this, she'll know what I'm talking about. But when I'm watching these videos of women who divorced the good guy, I wonder, so what is it? If he's a good guy and you're saying he's a good guy, why are you willing to destroy the whole family, separate the kids, co-parent, non-parent, whatever you want to call it, just because you want to date again or find excitement? I even accused one woman I said, well, maybe you've discovered your sexuality and you decided you wanted to be with a woman.
You accused a woman of being gay because she didn't want to be married again. They always feel like it's over sex. Like she's always leaving for another man or another woman. It can't be any of the reasons that she stated coming out of her mouth. They all have to be a lie. It has to be because he's playing video games. That's a good reason too, by the way. If he's still playing video games as a 30, 40-year-old man and there's plenty of other things productive to do around the house, that is a perfectly good reason to get a divorce if he's not helping you with the kids.
And not be with a man. Okay? So there's always something bigger, because you don't just divorce the good guy. Is the good guy the guy who takes out the trash, fix things around the house, he's handy, he doesn't cheat, he plays with the kids? I don't know, he works 2-3 jobs, he brings in enough money to support the family, but he's just not for you. So you need to go explore and find your thing. Well, you probably should have dated a little longer, but I find it interesting. Go ahead and search women who divorced the good guy, and you're going to see some interesting videos.
Divorcing the nice guy, I'm convinced, is one of the hardest positions to find yourself in, because nothing looks bad enough. He's not abusive, he's not reckless, he's not a monster. He's decent, he works hard, other people like him. And that's exactly why you feel stuck. There's no big blow-up story, no dramatic betrayal, no headline moment you can point to and say, that's why. So when you say you're unhappy, people look confused and you start questioning yourself. You think, is this enough of a reason?
Many women have a lot of reasons why they do it. They just don't want to tell people because they know people will make them feel like it's nothing. And in their heart and in their soul and in their mind, it is something because they're suffering and it's hurting them. But they know to the rest of the world, everybody's going to look at them like they're crazy. Oh, that's nothing. He's a good man, because they've heard it before. They've heard it over and over before, and they feel like they have nobody on their side because most women are male-centered and most women will not understand them.
Am I just ungrateful? Maybe I should try harder. Because when you're divorcing the nice guy, you feel like you need to justify it. But here's the truth that no one says out loud. You don't need a villain to validate your unhappiness. Compatibility isn't measured by whether someone is nice. It's measured by whether you feel connected, seen, alive inside the relationship. And when you stay because he's nice, not because you're fulfilled, you slowly start abandoning yourself. That quiet resentment, the flatness, that emotional loneliness, it all matters. You're allowed to want more than not that bad. You're allowed to want alignment. You don't need to prove that it was bad. You just need to admit that it wasn't enough.
And what she said about not being the same in her 20s, 30s, 50s is exactly what I say all the time about women evolve every 5 to 10 years. You change the way you see things, the way you think about things, the way you feel about things. And that is why women are divorcing, because men do not evolve. And I made a video about it. It's the Peter Pan syndrome. Go back and look at that. It's about men not evolving and women evolving.
No one talks about divorcing a good guy. I've been divorced twice, both of which were my decision, and neither one of them were abusing me or cheating on me. That doesn't mean there wasn't a pile of other reasons as to why we couldn't maintain a healthy relationship.
A pile of other reasons, meaning tell me you're toxic without telling me. Okay. But to also come online so proudly and so boldly as to think that you're not part of the problem while simultaneously proving that you are unable to maintain a healthy relationship, even as a coach, make that make sense. This is a perfect example of women that have zero self-awareness and are actually super selfish, because how do you come on the internet and basically admit to ruining two men's lives and you don't think you're part of the problem? And that's just two people that she married. So what about all of the men in between in her dating experiences? And what is she teaching women as a coach? I love how all of these professionals come online and think that they're like God's gift because they are coaches. But the reality is that they're taking their own personal experience and projecting that onto other people, especially women. And this is the number one reason why so many single women keep women single. And how diabolical and delulu do you have to be to come online and basically say that you ruined two men's lives and you don't think there's anything wrong with that? The same way that if women are on dating apps and a man says, oh, I've been married and divorced 2 or 3 times, you're going to immediately call him, a narcissist or toxic or delulu or all of the things. But women can come online and say whatever the hell they want, and it's perfectly normal and it's natural for her to just divorce people because she's bored and not feeling it. Let me guess, I'm sure that all men are toxic and all men are narcissists and she's not the problem at all. Okay, bye.
How are single women keeping women single? Single women aren't the only ones online talking about this stuff. Women in relationships, women who have boyfriends, women who are married are talking about this stuff. And how do we have the power to keep anybody single? If you want a man, go get a man. Nobody is stopping single women from going to get a man. You can go outside and throw a rock across the street. You might hit one and go get them. The first one you hit, you can get them. Go get them.
I made the extremely tough decision to leave my husband last year after being with him for 21 years. We were married for 8 years. And my ex-husband is not a bad guy, wonderful father. But there were some things that would send people into orbit when I would tell them things. Like, number one, and I'm not exaggerating, my ex-husband did not tell me that he loved me. That sends people into outer space when I tell them that. That was something that I accepted we'll call it accepted, but now I see it as settling. I had accepted this about him, but what ended up happening is years and years and years of what I will consider emotional neglect unintentionally. I began to resent him, and there's a few videos that I want to make of things that I've learned, especially with us coming up on 1 year divorced, and what I learned about divorcing the good guy and what a villain that makes you, how hard it is on your kids. I just want this to reach someone going through the same thing or thinking about divorcing the good guy. And if you have questions, if you have concerns that you have for yourself or your kids, drop it in the comments. I'd love for somebody to ask me something, because I feel like my story can help somebody.
All of these women say the same thing. You know what? I'm on the internet and I'm doing this because I feel like my story can help somebody else. Well, here's my question. Did this create a better or a worse environment for your children? Because I didn't even know that you had children until you just mentioned it. Do you feel as though this is going to hurt and ruin the reputation of so-called quote unquote good guy, because everybody knows somebody that knows who you're talking about or who you're talking to when you decide to throw him under the bus on the internet? And then last but not least, do you think after a year of being divorced, and I'm assuming that you've probably tried to jump on an app or try to talk to somebody else, do you believe that you've actually had or made a smart decision because you were emotionally in a bad space because you started to resent him? Because for men, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't say I love you, but I can think of 10,000 worse things. And a lot of times for men, the way that we show that we love you is through our actions, not necessarily through our words. The words are the reinforcing of you bearing good fruit. Those would be my questions to this woman and to these women that decide, because they labeled him the good guy.
If your husband is a good guy, but you're ready for divorce, you're not a bad person. So don't let guilt get the best of you. You're not doing him any favors by staying. If anything, you're actually going to start building up resentment. Your relationship doesn't have to be toxic to validate your feelings of wanting to leave. Think of it this way. If he's a good guy, he deserves to be happy. That means he deserves to be with somebody who values him and wants him just the way he is. If that's not you, you gotta let him go. He may not see it like this right now, but you're doing both of you a favor.
Talk about justifying just doing something awful. So you're gonna tell me your husband's a good guy and you have no actual reason to leave him except, well, I'm just not feeling him anymore. And that's a good enough reason to break a vow that you made before your community and God. How'd it go? It's till death do us part. Vows, commitments, and relationships used to mean something. It used to mean that I'm gonna stick it out with you no matter what. And you're gonna stick it out with me no matter what. And the two of us are gonna get through it together no matter what life throws at us. And here's the bit of news nobody wants to hear. Any relationship is gonna get dull. When you spend so much time with people, you're gonna get sick of them. They're going to annoy you. They're going to frustrate you. That spark is going to vanish. And this is where you have to put in work. This is where you have to put in effort. You have to maintain that spark in the relationship. It's a flame, and you can't keep a flame going without firewood. If your mentality is that your significant other is a good person, but they're just not for you, and you're going to divorce them over that, I hate to break it to you, you're never going to have a long-term relationship, because everybody at some point is going to disappoint you. And here's the reality. If you're married to this person, there was probably a point that you had this attraction, that you had this spark, that you had this passion in your relationship. It didn't vanish. It's not gone away. You guys are just not maintaining it anymore. That person is still there. You just need to get back to the roots of that. It's not like you got into this relationship with somebody you despised at the beginning. If it was there once, it could be there again.
What these men aren't understanding is that women don't want to work to keep them anymore. Women are tired of trying to keep them and working to keep them, and they still go off and cheat or do whatever they want to make themselves happy. If the flame dies, the flame dies. Women would rather be alone at this point, and they're okay with their decision to be alone.
Good guy, he's just not good for me. With tears. The guy was great, treated her well, was always there for her, spoke affirmingly and encouragingly, but was not for her. Totally different personalities, totally different future dreams, totally different desires and passions. He might have been a good guy, and he is, and she's a good girl, but they're not good for each other. Sure, they don't fight, they don't argue, and everything seems fine, but desire will never be met. Why? Because they're completely different. So the best thing you can do when you get to that situation is let the person go. I know that's incredibly difficult because they're good people. They didn't do anything wrong, and there's nothing wrong with them. It's just not right for the relationship to stay. So by letting go, you can let that person go and grieve. You can grieve yourself, but now you'll be open to finding the person who's right for you, who wants to do the same things, who wants to go the same direction. When two people are going in the same direction, there is power, there is clarity, there is joy, there is hope, there is a future, there's a partnership. And yeah, you can stay in that, but you'll regret it later. The kindest thing you can do is let the person go and wish them well, but then grieve it and move on and be ready for what is right. The person wasn't wrong. The relationship wasn't wrong. It just wasn't right for you. I wish you well. If you need some help, reach out. I'm a relationship coach, a transition coach, and I can help you through that. Book an appointment with me. We'll think it through and get you a plan to move forward. Have a great day. Remember, you're loved. You're going to be okay.
So I think what many women are coming to realize in 2026, this is June of 2026, is that men and women are actually just not compatible at all, like in relationships or in marriage. And as of 2026, I think it's almost like 75% of women are filing for divorces. And I really feel like it's because women are evolving and realizing that for an entire lifetime or for the entire time they've been dating or in marriages, they just haven't been compatible with the men. And men realize it too, but men don't want to let it go because men are benefiting the most. So men are windmilling and fighting for it. And pick-me's, of course. Like, I don't even know why they're fighting for it. Like, there's so many single men out here, and they're still fighting other women, but but it's so many men out here now for them to pick from, but they still want to fight women who are saying they're done with men. I will never understand that, y'all. I never will. I understand aliens and mermaids and unicorns before I will understand a pygmy. So
Okay. I'm sorry to break it to you, but men and women are not compatible. Okay? Yep, I said it. The only reason why men and women were seen as compatible back in the day, because everybody always goes back to, oh, but back in the day, things worked out. Back in the day, things were more simple. Yeah, I'll tell you why. Because back in the day, women had to marry for survival. Women didn't even want to know their own desires. Women didn't even want to acknowledge their desires and their needs and their wants. No. They overlooked them because they just needed a roof over their heads. Because they weren't allowed to work. They didn't have a voice. They didn't have the options that we have now. So, that's my hot take. Men and women are not compatible. We both strive for different things. How can you coexist with someone who doesn't have the same values and ethos as you? This is why we always have problems. Men and women will never understand each other. This is why you can't exist in harmony with each other. You just cannot. We are not compatible. We are not compatible. And the problem is, no one wants to accept that. So they stay in relationships because it's based on codependency. It's based on this idea that somebody else is going to come in and fix all my problems. It's based on the concept that somebody's going to come in and patch up my wounds so that I don't have to do the heavy work, so that I don't have to do the painful work and go out and heal and go on this journey and face my demons. Because being with somebody and having a partner is going to be the quick fix to everything. Most people who are in relationships right now are miserable. They stay together, not because of love. They stay together because of convenience, safety, comfort, and fear. I'm scared to be alone in this world, so I'm going to call you my girlfriend or my boyfriend. So, do yourself a favor and focus on your path and your journey, because the only person who can fulfill you is yourself. The only person who can validate you is yourself. And it is nobody else's responsibilities to heal your wounds for you. You have to do that.
Men and women are raised completely differently under a patriarchy. Men believe that things like considering your partner's thoughts and feelings is the same thing as him making an active compromise, while women, on the other hand, are conditioned to believe that compromises is how she considers her partner. She's not a considerate partner unless she is making compromises, and they're often really big ones and even sacrifices. On the other hand, men, they think that the absence of cruelty is the same exact thing as showing kindness to their partner, while women understand that you need to actively not be cruel and actively be kind to your partner to be considered a kind and thoughtful partner. And it carries out in every aspect of the relationship. Men think that helping out around the house, you're a really good partner. They think that helping out with your kids, he's a really good father. He's a really good parent. Men don't see that they have to actively be a part of anything in life. They are passive partners in life. And women are raised to overcompensate, to overlook it, and to not even notice it. Patriarchy wants you to be blind to this fact so that these marriages work out and you pump out some kids.
A woman will leave a good man. Isn't that crazy when you think about that? When a woman has a good man in her life, and yet she will still leave him. And it's not because of what he's doing for her, because most women, and not all, most women will appreciate what a man does for her. However, the reason why a woman will leave a good man is because of what he does not do for her. Do you see the difference? Because sometimes a man can think he's doing everything right, but that's what he's thinking. But he has to make sure that the way that he loves her, values her, respects her, appreciates her, is in a way that she wants these things done. Not in the way that he wants to do it, but in the way that she appreciates them. And this is oftentimes the problem. Not that the woman is ungrateful, not that she's not appreciative, but we have to understand as men that if we are going to bring a woman into our life, we have to understand her. We have to know what her wants are. We have to know what her needs are in every way. And then we have to provide those things in a way that she appreciates, in the way that she wants. That may sound crazy, but that's just the reality. And if we're not willing to do that, then we should not bring this woman into our life. But if we do bring her into our life, we have to sign up for that. We have to deliver on that. And if we do not cater to her in the way that she wants to be loved, respected, and appreciated, if we don't do those things, it's not going to matter if we're a good man. It's not going to matter what we do because we're not doing those things in the way that she wants them to be done for her.
And this is true. Men have a tendency of doing the things that they want to do to make you happy. Regardless of what you tell them, they're not going to listen because they've been programmed not to listen to women over and over again. Not only are they not firing on all cylinders, they're not all there in the mind. They have been programmed for centuries to not listen to you. So say that they piss you off. They're not going to do anything that in your mind they should do. They're going to go buy you something because that's what they want to do. And because you make them feel like that's okay and you get happy when they buy you something and you just say, oh, well, he didn't mean it or he bought me something, he's being nice. You still didn't get what you want, but he pacified you with a gift. So he'll keep doing that. So you'll never get what you want out of the relationship, which is like communication, openness, honesty. You're not going to get that. He's just going to buy you something to pacify you. Or if you're a woman who is like overly sex driven, he'll just like give you sex to shut you up. Oh, I hurt her feelings, I'm gonna give her sex, because a lot of women feel like sex means love and men feel the same thing. So that'll pacify you for a while. He'll take you on a date, take you out somewhere, or do something around the house that you always ask him to do that he normally doesn't do. They do many things to pacify you, but they don't actually give women what women are desiring, which is community, connectivity, understanding, communication, honesty. They don't give women what they need emotionally and spiritually. And that's why these women are saying they're good, but I had to leave. He just wasn't for me. I was unfulfilled. I was unhappy because they don't care about the emotional well-being of women. They can't connect with women like that. And that's why matriarchies were needed. Women can connect with women on that level, but right now in a patriarchy, women cannot because so many women are male-centered and they're so low vibrational that they're only on the level of men right now. They're not trying to connect with women spiritually or mentally or to help women physically because men are taking up all of their time and energy and they're not giving it to each other. So women are like starved for these things and aren't getting it from each other, but feel like they should try until death to get it from men.
The video of me opening up about my marriage has over almost 3 million views now. And if you go look at it and read the comments, you will find a lot of really harsh, rude comments.
I'm surprised that you didn't think that you were going to get harsh comments from people prior to you posting that video. Like, did you not watch your own video before you posted it? For those that don't know, this woman got on here and said that in the beginning of the year, she thought about getting a divorce from her husband, the man she's been married to for 10 years. And then she went on to say that he's the perfect husband and there's not one thing she does not love about this man. And the reason she thought about getting a divorce is because she said she felt she could not be herself around her husband. This woman is 32 years old, married to this man, a stay-at-home wife with kids. Let me decipher through all the bullshit and tell y'all exactly what happened.
This is how a lot of men and women speak about and look at women when women try to explain what they're going through in these marriages with these men. Women are trying not to dog these men out and saying that they are a good person overall. But when women say but is when everybody cuts off their ears. It's like they want you to dog these people out, even though you're saying he's a good person. But if you were dogging them out as your husband, they would have a problem with that also. So women can't win. Women are telling their truth and speaking their truth, and nobody wants to hear them. They don't connect with these men. These men are not who they need to be with. They are not feeding them spiritually. Their soul is not fed. They feel dead. They cannot be themselves. A lot of people cannot be themselves and are walking on eggshells in their relationship, specifically women, to please these men, to be what these men want them to be the perfect, docile, nice, meek woman when that's not who they are. Women are molding themselves into what these men want them to be. And she's saying, I cannot be myself. This is not who I am. And she has thousands of comments that are coming for her. And a lot of women can identify with what she's saying. They can't be themselves. They're walking on eggshells when he comes home. He will blow up at any moment if I say A, B, or C.
Woman simply got bored. You can do a lot of things to a woman in a relationship and she will stay. But if she's bored, I promise you that
This is him admitting that he knows that women stay through hell. So he's saying that if you'll stay through hell, you'll stay through cheating, you'll stay through outside babies and him hitting you, but you won't stay when you're bored. He's trying to simplify it and trying to brush it off as she's just bored. As you'll see, a lot of these men and women are doing this. She was unhappy. Oh, she was just bored. Oh, he wouldn't take her on dates. They'll try to simplify it and try to make it seem like it's no big deal instead of listening to women. And that's toxic. I feel like we live in a toxic, abusive society and people don't even realize how abusive they are.
Is in trouble. Lady, get off the internet and go find you a hobby, something that can keep you busy. so you don't ruin a good marriage that you have.
So I'm watching this video of this woman who's talking about the fact that she wants to leave her husband, not because he's a bad guy. He does not hit her. He's not mean to her. He's not cruel. As far as I can tell from what she has said in the video, he's a good guy. She calls him a good guy. She goes on to say that she literally
If this woman is spending all day in bed, it sounds like she's depressed. And let's see what this woman has to say about this. She skips right over that part, but it sounds like she's severely depressed and she's lacking a lot of things that she needs.
Spends all day, every day in bed because that is the only way she can stop herself from picking her husband apart. She is so certain that she wants out of this marriage with this good man that she tells him she wants a divorce. And what does this man say? This man who she has been pretty vile towards, this man who she lays in bed to avoid. He says he wants to work it out.
Of course he says this. He's benefiting from her. If she's depressed, if she's suicidal, he's benefiting. He's still getting sex on demand. He's still getting food. She's probably still cleaning and taking care of kids and taking care of him and working. Of course he would say that.
He doesn't want her to go. She says the only thing he does wrong is that he's lazy and he doesn't put in effort, which is incredible to me because at the same token,
which is a valid reason to get divorced. And again, she could be laying in bed all day because she's depressed because he is lazy and because he is not showing up as a good partner. He is a good person. He's just not a good partner.
Lazy and he doesn't put in effort, which is incredible to me because at the same token, she herself says she just lays in bed all day. And when she's out of the bed, she is nasty to him. This is the world that we're living in now. So, women come on here and they say things to me that honestly don't bother me. It's more of a reflection of yourself, in my opinion. But I think the root of this is that women are living in this narrative, if you will, that whatever you feel is your truth. If you feel like you're upset, don't put in work. You shouldn't have to do that. You should have a perfect life where nothing is wrong. Your husband should be perfect. Your husband should go above and beyond constantly, even when you put in zero effort. Your husband should compensate. He should provide. He should protect. He should compensate for your shortcomings. He should be the one who wants to work it out and picks you up when you're down. He should literally be the end-all be-all, and he should require nothing from you. That's not marriage. That's not marriage. So if that's the world that you want to live in, then do that. And do that with whomever is accepting of that narrative. But to find these good guys, to marry these good guys, take them off the market so there's no option because these good guys don't leave their wives.
I actually made a video on why most men do not file for a divorce. But like I said before, ma'am, more of them for you. Why are you doing this? Serves no purpose for you. More for you. Go get him.
They will tough it up with you, as this man said. You put yourself first. And ladies, marriage requires selflessness. If you're not ready to put someone else before you, don't get married.
Ladies, let me give you 5 ways to identify he's a good man, but not the right one for you. Number 1, he treats you well, but doesn't move you forward. Kindness is there, but alignment isn't. Number 2, your values don't fully match. It's no drama, just different priorities. Different pace and a different direction. Number 3, you feel safe but not fulfilled. Peace is present, but something is essentially missing. Number 4, the future feels blurry, not exciting. You can't clearly see yourselves building the same life together. Number 5, you be settling, not choosing. You respect him, but you're forcing attraction and purpose. Hard truth I want to leave. You don't need a reason to leave that makes him wrong. He can be good and still not be good for you. You don't see him in your future, then there's no future with him.
Hey man, a lot of y'all dudes that's getting online talking bad about women, let me just tell you the truth. You just not compatible with women. That's all it is, fam. That's all it is. Maybe being with a woman is not for you. Maybe you should be alone, or that's all I'll say about that. Because ain't no way you keep complaining about the same goddamn thing every time. Ain't no way you keep choosing the wrong woman every time. Ain't no way you got this much disdain for women 24/7. Come on, dog. Every video you drop is about single mother. Why do you keep dating single mothers? Every video you drop is about women who wear weave. Well, then don't date a woman who wear weave. Every video you drop is about women's bad behavior. Why are you messing with women who have bad behavior? Because again, I'll say it all the time, a man gets what he wants out of life because he puts in the work to get what he wants out of life. Maybe the problem is, maybe you're not a real man, fam. I'm just gonna be honest. Maybe you're just not compatible with women. Maybe you're a loser. That's all it is. Because only losers complain. Winners don't.
Something I wish I would have known at the age of 22 instead of 29 that I think would have saved me so much heartbreak and prevented me from hurting so many people in my 20s is if I knew that a great guy does not mean it is your guy. And I say this because now that I'm dating again after my divorce like 2.5 years ago, I feel like my standard now is that the bare minimum is that they are a great guy and that they are a safe guy. That is the bare minimum, and it should be for everybody. And I feel like we're sold this idea that we should be really hyped up and really excited about somebody who has all of these checklist tick marks, whatever, on paper, and they're like financially stable, they're honest, they're kind. Like, I'm sorry, that's the bare minimum. My friends are all of those things and so much more. And as I'm around my friends, I'm like, wow, we really do it all. Like, we take care of ourselves, we're kind humans, we're financially stable, we have careers that we are successful in, that we are still evolving in if we want to be. We are so reliable, we are honest, we are funny, we know how to dress, we take care of ourselves. Like, when did we start making greatness the maximum? Like, that is the bare minimum. So when I go on dates now, for me to even go on a date with a guy, he really has to be a safe or a great guy already. And then what I'm looking for is my best friend. Is he able to match the energy of my friends from there? Do I enjoy being around him the same way that I enjoy being around my friends? Does he make me laugh? Does he challenge me? Is he meeting life with curiosity the same way? Does he excite me, but also does he help me want to be better and regulate my nervous system? And is he a mirror to me? A mirror that doesn't just reflect my flaws, but reflects them in a way that makes me want to be better. Like, these are the things that I'm looking for in somebody who's not codependent. Like, I don't want somebody to need me. I want to want them, and I want them to want me, but I want us to both be individual, whole people on our own. Like, I want us to come from a place of want, not a place of need.
Good morning, everyone. This is for all my ladies out there that have been married for a very long time to great husbands, great men who haven't shown up to be great husbands. And I'm in the process of going through a divorce after being married 22 years. We're currently still living in the same space. And we got into a discussion this morning about all of the effort that he's been putting out since he ghosted me on Mother's Day. And I made it very clear that we would not be continuing this marriage. And the conversation always goes something like this. Well, haven't you seen my efforts the past week? Haven't you seen I am cleaning up after myself? I'm being, courteous of you and your space. What's the point if you're not going to see it? Well, the point is that you change yourself as a human being. That's the point. The point isn't that you throw out temporary scraps to try to reel me back in. That's not the point. The point is that regardless of what you get back in return, you're changing a behavior about yourself that doesn't work coupling, doesn't work in a partnership. So I don't care about your scraps right now. I have 22 years of consistent history to go off of, and that is I'm caring for a teenager. And it took forever to get him to see, oh, I guess the last week doesn't matter. And but what's the point of it? And literally the point of it is to change yourself. Like, don't you want to be a changed person when we divorce and you get in a relationship with somebody else that you learned a valuable lesson from the 22 years of education that you've received? Yeah. I'll never understand them.
So come in real quick. Let's have a conversation. So this comment here, really speaks to the fact that, a lot of people, men and women, we will stick with someone who's good, but not necessarily someone who's right for us. Because sometimes we can come from a place of lack. And there's nothing against this woman here, but her comment spoke volumes, because here we are talking about, how we're no longer, being with people who don't love us the right way. Some people's love can be really good, but it's not right for us. And sometimes we have to choose what's right for us over what's good for us. And you might say, well, what's the difference between something being good for us and right for us? Wouldn't being good for us be better? And honestly, we meet plenty of good people in our life. We meet plenty of good friends, good strangers. And the thing about good is that a lot of times it's good for the moment, but it's not sustainable because it's not right for us. And a lot of times what's right for us has a long-term capability. And I think this is what her message more than anything means, is that I have someone good, but he's just not right. And you don't want to be selfish in this process, and you have to be able to let things go that no longer fit you.
My core belief is that males and females are not compatible, which is the source of all of the conflict that women and men have within their relationships.
They're not compatible.
No.
I think a lot of people would not dispute that.
And I believe linguistically, I don't think people really understand the language that they use. So when you look up the definition for compatible, it means able to exist together without conflict. Well, by nature, humans, males and females, are already in conflict from the get-go, and it's called sexual conflict. That is the source of all of the issues that males and females have. So when you rise beyond sex to try to create a holistic or harmonious relationship, you're always going to run into those conflicting issues, which shows that males and females are not biologically compatible for healthy relationships. They have to really, really try hard to do this.
Do you believe relationships can be mutually beneficial?
Well, I believe that there's a difference between relationships and partnerships. I think in modern society, we have collapsed many terms into one, creating a lot of confusion about what things actually are. So, from my point of view, relationships are for broken people.
I want to talk about one of my favorite lines that I hear frequently, that's been said to me, and that's also been said to friends of mine going through a divorce. But he's such a nice guy. Why would you want to leave him? Okay, first of all, do you want his number? Because he's single now. That's right. That's what I thought. You don't want him, but you want me to stay with him. Why is it only acceptable to leave a marriage if they are physically abusive to you or if they've been having an affair? Why are those the only reasons in 2022 that a woman can leave a man? Explain this to me, because it makes no sense to me at all. What if he is a nice guy, but he's just not my person, and we don't get along well, and we don't complement each other, and we have grown in different directions? I have to stay with him forever? forever, my entire life, with the wrong person because it makes you uncomfortable? Come on now, really?
If you've ever thought to yourself or even considered, I'm married to a good person, but I'm not married to a good spouse. If that's you, this message is for you. I've recently been asked, what do I do, David, if I'm married and committed to a really good person, but I'm not married to a really good spouse? For those of you that have been following me for some time, you probably have a notion of what I'm about to say. The answer to any struggle, any complication, any obstacle in your marriage, the solution for you begins when you look in the mirror. Ladies and gentlemen, when we continue to believe that when we point the finger, it's going to help solve the problem, that only leads you to more frustration and confusion and anger and resentment and bitterness. If you really want to begin to feel peace and find purpose in your life, it's never going to be found in waiting for your spouse to change or alter or be fixed. Here's the truth, my friends. There are actually unprocessed wounds within you that continue to choose to stay with a good person rather than pursue a relationship that you're worthy of. The relationship you're most worthy of is a relationship with yourself. It's true, friends. You settle to remain in a relationship with someone who is a good person because of a myriad of different inner wounds still left unprocessed within you. You have absolute autonomy to choose who you're with. So if you want to have a different marriage dynamic, you have to be different first.
You can be a good man and still be a bad partner. See, as men, we take pride in being a good man. But here's the problem. Goodness alone doesn't make you a good partner. You might never cheat, but you also never connect. You might work hard to provide, but you're also emotionally unreachable. You might love to communicate, but you also shut down during conflict. You may love her, but you don't listen to her. You may pray for her, but you don't partner with her. Not because you are trying to be malicious, but because you are underdeveloped in the areas that matter most to her heart. So it's possible to have high character and still lack skills that actually make love work.
Let's talk about the good guys, the ones that don't yell, don't cheat, don't hit you, but deep down you still feel like something's wrong. Because emotional neglect is a very quiet form of abuse. He might brag about how he's not like other guys, and sure, he doesn't scream, he doesn't lie, he doesn't leave, but he also doesn't see you. Tell him that you're lonely and he says you're too sensitive. You tell him that you need more from him and he says, you should be grateful that I'm not worse, that I'm not like those other guys. And that's the trick. He hides behind the absence of chaos, so you start doubting your own unmet needs. He's not cruel, he's just indifferent. And indifference over time does what yelling can't. It empties you out quietly. So no, he might not be a bad guy, he's just not a good one for you. And you deserve presence, not just the absence of harm. So if somebody is making you feel invisible, if you have a gut feeling deep down that something is off, listen to that, even though they might be a good guy on the surface. And my goal isn't to break people up. My goal is to get you to trust your gut instincts, because when your body is screaming at you, it's more than likely for a good reason.
This is going to be a video that both men and women may appreciate. The number one question women always ask when they receive information about men and life and reality is, are there any good men? Good is subjective. Good is different to different people. For example, to some women, a good man might be a man that comes home, sits on the couch, plays video games all night till he goes to bed, isn't plugged into the kids or the running of the household too much, but he's not problematic and he pays the bills. To some women, that might be good. Some men are good husbands. They're plugged in mentally and emotionally, but they're not very good fathers. The act of fatherhood is daunting to them. Some men, vice versa, are good fathers, but not faithful husbands. Different people have different qualities, and good can mean different things to different people. For example, if a man cheats on his wife, but he's a doctor, in the next hour he saves a life, does that make him a bad person because he's cheating? That's up to each person to decide. The fact of the matter is no one's going to be a perfect partner or a perfect person. A lot of women have in mind that they are going to find some perfect man that's going to worship the ground she walks on and tell her exactly what she wants to hear at all times, and basically be a fantasy Prince Charming that she grew up to believe that she would find. That's not reality. People are flawed, people are traumatized, people go through things in life. If we're being honest, most men's first choice wouldn't be to get married. Most men get married out of necessity or lack of other option, but most men would agree if they could find easy access to sex at least weekly, they wouldn't be getting married. A lot of men get married because it is a most realistic choice for their life, both financially and logically. A lot of women aren't good wives either. There's a lot of women that I've known in my life that I would not want to be married to. They are immature, they're mentally stunted, they behave like children, they gossip like children, and things like that. People are flawed. What you have to ask yourself is what you want to put up with. But perfection will never be something that is attained. To date or marry is to settle or compromise in some way. But if we are being honest, it usually is women that are compromising more, forgiving more, and it usually is a woman's forgiveness and willingness to settle that keeps a relationship going. Relationships are not easy, nor are they the ticket to the good life, nor are they the ticket to the soft life. Life is not soft. Your greatest hope is to find someone who takes the edge off a little bit and doesn't make life even harder. It is a gamble no matter what. And I think another thing that women look for is a guarantee. They are looking for a magic formula to find a good man. They think if they dress like this or talk like this or wait or do all of these things that it will conform a man into what they want. And that's not true either. You cannot change a human being. You cannot control another human being's actions because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. Most men would agree that they will battle lust their entire lives. If you look around in this world as a woman, look at all the beautiful women. Women don't have to be beautiful or gorgeous to be considered what I call doable. Most women to men are doable, and most men will take the opportunities if it comes along to them. Women think that their man has intense self-control, but how could that be? We live in a society full of fast food and video games and instant gratification and shopping and all of these things that we have no self-control with. So how is a man going to have self-control with the one thing that he lives for, which is entering a woman's body? Your best bet, like I said, is to find someone who makes your life enjoyable. It's not going to be easy. There will be hard times, but you should not be suffering for any person that you're with. You should not be crying in bed suffering. You should not be waiting for communication, and you should be able to communicate. And I think that's where a lot of people lack. A lot of people can't even talk to their partner about real life stuff. A lot of people have no communication skills past how's the weather, what's for dinner tonight, and when's the kid's next soccer game. So a lot of people aren't talking to their significant other about what is going on in their mind or their heart. So they hold it in and they hold this resentment in. And a lot of people call this chaos keeping the peace. A lot of people grow apart throughout the years because they don't communicate and because people change and evolve. Getting married, choosing a life partner, and choosing to have kids with someone is a huge gamble, and there is no guarantees of success. And the bottom line is you cannot control another human being. The biggest superpower a woman can have is knowing when to leave. A lot of women miss the signals that the relationship is over, so they'll do things to prolong the relationship, such as cheat back, risking their body, and checking phones, checking locations, and things like that. You cannot force or control a person to be exactly what you want to be. The bottom line will always be to invest in yourself, to work on yourself, and to ask yourself, what are you truly getting out of this relationship?
Sit with me while I eat cookies and we talk about the fallacy of being the good guy from a woman who's done a lot of self-awareness and healing work and coached with men. The idea of the good guy is that they're performative, not authentic. They're trying to be good to get something, right? So whether it's love, sex, approval, peace, it's not self-led goodness. It is transactional niceness. Okay, so if you think, if I'm just kind enough, she'll love me. If I don't rock the boat, she'll stay. If I self-abandon, if I just do whatever she says and I jump through all these hoops, then maybe she'll tell me I'm a good boy, or she will give me the good loving tonight, or she'll do that thing that I asked her to do. If I keep doing, then maybe I will get a result out of her. And it's a form of manipulation, and it's not bad intentioned manipulation. But if you're doing anything to cause a result in someone else, that is essentially manipulation as opposed to being grounded in who you are. You suppress instead of express. So you have wants, you have needs, you have feelings, you have emotions, you have desires, you have goals, you have dreams. But instead of sharing those with a safe partner, You share them with somebody who rejects all of that and triggers your rejection or your abandonment moods. The good guy avoids conflict, he swallows his needs, and doesn't speak his truth. Then he wonders why he feels resentful or misunderstood or invisible or like his needs don't matter. Good equals being silent. Good equals being spineless. Good equals emotionally castrated. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not good intention. That does not mean that you don't have a good heart. But when we use this goodness, this nice guy, in a performative sense to try and earn love, it is coming from a underlying belief that you are not worthy and valuable of love as you are, messiness and all, and that you have to achieve some ridiculous level of perfection and niceness and goodness and self-abandonment in order to be worthy and deserving of love. It's unhealthy. So they outsource their self-worth to her response, her opinion, her mood, her desire, her feedback, her spirals, right? Because he is trying to be good for her, not from a grounded self-leadership space of I'm good, period. Whether she responds to that in a healthy way or not, I am still a good man, right? He's seeking validation. Pick me, choose me, tell me I'm enough, make me matter. So you confuse comfort with connection, right? They try to be easygoing, agreeable, always available. But what your woman, at least a healthy woman, and we have a big asterisk there, a healthy woman wants, is emotional depth. Like somebody who understands their own nervous system and doesn't self-abandon for the sake of peace. That is not somebody that you can trust. We want leadership. We want presence. We want somebody to understand themselves so they have a chance of understanding us. You're not losing women because you're good. You're losing them because you're not grounded. You're not expressing yourself. You're not embodied in a safe way, right? We're not talking about you just going off the handle because, okay, well, the guru on TikTok told me I should express myself. No, that you understand what's healthy expression, what's healthy advocacy for your needs and wants, healthy boundaries. A lot of you could learn here to have some healthy boundaries. But here's the truth. A regulated man, a man who's doing the self-awareness work, who understands why he is the way that he is, what is his childhood experiences with his parents and relationships and his identity of love and being chosen and his wounds. When you start to understand and learn all of that about yourself, so that when those come up and get triggered within a relationship, because we all have our childhood experiences and our nervous system response and our survival responses from childhood come up in our adult relationships. Our nervous system does that to try and repair and heal those experiences. When you understand all of that, you are way sexier than a passive man who's performing for approval. I promise you that. Be good because it's who you are, not because you're afraid of being rejected. And that you're not going to choose being passive over being you, because that is not a recipe for a healthy long-term relationship. You can only perform so long before your nervous system or your body starts to go, something's up. This is not okay. And that's going to look like stress, anxiety, disease, autoimmune disorders. There are a lot of things that happen when you repress your feelings, thoughts, emotions for a long period of time. It's going to come out one way or the other. That energy has to discharge somehow. So you get to decide whether you work through that, discharge that in a healthy, safe way. I prefer somatic healing, specifically somatic breath work. Get all of that out so that you can actually show up in an authentic way. Know that you are worthy and deserving of partnership, reciprocity, somebody to be curious and seek to understand you before they attack, before they judge you. But the version of you that may have chosen the current or most recent past partner where it didn't work out or it's not working out may have been the version of you that was the good guy. Okay? It's not that you're the good guy or the bad guy. It's not so black and white. It's just, are you being a good guy to try and earn and achieve love? Or are you a good guy because you know you're a good guy? There's a big difference. And if you want to learn how to be a good guy who respects himself, who shows up authentically and grounded, and again, I know this is kind of like woo-woo terms. Grounded just means that you know who you are. The world outside is not going to tell you any differently than you know who you are and you're proud of how you're showing up. If you want to learn how to do that, I have a men's program called Healthy Mentality. DM me the word heal and we can talk more about it if that's something that you're looking to do. And hey, my name's Tara and I'm on a mission to create a self-aware army. It's lonely in these self-aware streets.
A creator named
named Brittany Hall recently posted a TikTok talking about how good men lose good women. She basically described the current dynamic of my relationship, and I don't know what to do with it. I can't get it out of my head. I've talked openly on my page about how my husband and I are currently in a valley in our marriage. We are trying to decide, where do we go from here? We have been together for over 17 years and married for over 13. We got married as babies. We were just 22 years old. And I know a lot of people, especially now in this day and age, are saying you should not be getting married before 26 or 30. So when I say 22, their guests are flabbered. But we felt like we knew what we were doing. We were willing to take that leap of faith. We understood that we would probably have more challenges than most simply because we chose to get married so young. There was so many future versions of ourselves that were going to have to grow and learn and mature. And we were okay with jumping in and taking that risk and vowing to be there for each other through all of those things. However, what we didn't know then that we do know now is that I'm an anxious attachment, he's an avoidant, and apparently those relationships are typically destined to fail. That is, if they don't do the work. Which leads me to Brittany's video. She talks about how good men lose good women simply because they are living in the gap. What is the gap, you might ask? Well, she goes on to define it as that space between intentionality and action and the space between acknowledgement and accountability. You have this good man who means well, but he doesn't move well. He talks about wanting things and wanting this and that for your life, but he doesn't actually show up in the ways that are necessary for you to do those things. He sees his patterns, but he refuses to change them. This essentially summarizes every single conversation I have ever had with my husband. But I will take what she said one step further. It's not just about that he doesn't move well or show up or that he has patterns that he doesn't change. For our dynamic specifically, it's not totally that there's a gap between those things and how he shows up for others. It's also about that gap in how he shows up for himself. He doesn't believe in himself, and it shows. And it doesn't matter that I've spent almost 2 decades pouring into him and telling him that he can be and do whatever he wants to be, and I will stand by his side through the ups and the downs. Because he is not willing to do the work to change his patterns, he cannot believe what I am saying. They are constantly putting it back on the woman. Oh, your man can't be great because you're being too stern. You're being too rough. You won't speak to him gently enough. You're not being feminine enough. You want to put it back on us. But the reality is, what if you do have a woman who's doing that? What if she is doing that? Right? A farmer can sow seeds all day long, but like the Bible says, if it falls on rocky ground, if it falls on shallow soil, if it falls where the weeds can choke it out, or where the birds can come in and eat it, what does it matter? What does it matter if she's speaking the things and doing the things and showing up for you in all of the ways if it's not landing on proper soil? If you won't do the work. One of the things women talk about a lot, and there's even a lot of discourse around it on TikTok, is do not marry a man for his potential. I'm a millennial and I'm a woman of color. When I was growing up, we were taught that if you do find a good man and you see his potential, then pour into him. We are taught to see the best in our future partners and then see if they have the capability of becoming who we believe they can be. But Gen Z is clocking that. They've seen their Gen X and millennial parents and grandparents, the women in their family, marry these men for their potential, and then that potential never manifests. And so now the message is, do not marry a man for his potential. Make sure that he already has his bag up. Make sure that he already has everything in order. Make sure that you can essentially step into his life already knowing that you're going to be fully taken care of. That just wasn't the conversation when I was coming up. And because that was my programming, it was something that I was completely fine with. What I didn't anticipate was that when I got older and I would be thrust into this situation of having to do a lot of healing work to overcome a lot of trauma that I didn't even realize I had at the time, it would become extremely important to me that I would have a partner who would also be willing to do the work to make themselves better. Both of us were abandoned by our biological fathers, and that was actually one of the things we bonded over when we were dating. We wanted to ensure that we were with somebody who was only bound to us, who was loyal to us, who wanted the same thing we wanted, which was a complete nuclear family, not a whole bunch of kids everywhere else, because we both have siblings from our other parents out there in the world that we don't even completely have a relationship with. I told my husband, I am not expecting you to do your healing work at the same time that I'm doing mine. But we do see some areas that could use some work, some improvement that are preventing you from connecting in this relationship. And so all I need to know is that you will eventually do the work. And I was told no. I was told no. So what do you do at that point? When this person that you love, that you know loves you, has been very clear with you that they understand what you're saying. They're acknowledging that you're saying there's a problem, but they refuse to do the action that would help close that gap. When they acknowledge that, yeah, I have some things wrong with me, I'm never going to change them. That prevents them from ever reaching a level of accountability that makes that woman feel safe in that relationship. I'm not only seeing those patterns in our relationship and how he shows up for me emotionally, because he shows up for me every other way, financially, physically, mentally. He shows up for me in every way you could think of. This man is my biggest cheerleader. And that's one of the reasons why my mom doesn't completely understand why we are where we are, because she's like, who cares if he doesn't show up for you emotionally? Right? Who cares if you never get to see that emotional side of him? He shows up for you in every other way. And I explained to her, that's not enough though. That's not enough for me to spend the rest of my life with someone and know that we have to go through all of these other emotional journeys. Our kids finishing high school, our kids starting relationships, getting married, having families of their own. I want someone who is deeply emotionally connected to me to experience those things with. I do not want to look into your eyes and see that you're distant, that you're not even a part of this thing that you told me you wanted to create. I want you in it with me. And it's not enough that you do everything else. I'm sorry, it's just not, especially not when I'm showing up for you in all of these ways. I don't care if you have all the money in the world. I don't care if you provide her with all the support she needs. If you stifle her ability to show you that support back, relationships are give and take in all regards. And so if you're supporting her, but you're limiting her ability to support you, and when she gives you feedback saying, babe, I think you could do this. I know you could do this. It's a hard place to be. And it's painful because it's a unique situation in which I haven't done anything to betray him. He hasn't done anything to betray me. It's almost as if the relationship has run its course simply because one of the partners isn't willing to do the work. One of the partners is stuck in the gap. And sure, I could stick it out. I could listen to my mom and say, you're right. He shows up for me in every other way. So it's okay if I don't have this one thing. The problem for me with that, though, is that I have created a little mini me now. I have created a daughter who is strong and beautiful. She's confident. She's brave. And she, unfortunately, or fortunately, is a romantic like her mom. I always refer to myself as a realistic romantic. I am a Disney girl down to the ground. I love a good romance story. I love when the man swoops in and saves her. I love it. Sue me. I love it. But the men in my movies and my books looked very differently from the men in real life. And so that made me what I call a romantic realist. I would love to have the romantic forever after. I've just seen enough to know that that's not true. But my daughter, she watches me watch all of my favorite romance movies, and she digs in with a blanket and popcorn right next to me and says, Mom, you just love these. You just love these so much. I can see it in your eyes. You love it. And then I watch her eyes light up as she's watching it next to me. And the reality is, you can't have a truly romantic, connected, emotionally invested relationship with somebody who sees patterns that are hurting your relationship and won't fix them. And I don't want to set the example for her that that is normal, that is something that she should accept. She's watching me. And as painful as it would be for her to have her dad and I go our separate ways, I don't think she understands the gravity of how that may impact her future relationships if I stay. So I don't know. I really don't know. But it was nice for Brittany's video to give me words to explain what I'm feeling and to give some context to the valley that we're in, because it's precisely that. My husband is a good man. But will he lose a good woman because he is stuck in this gap? Only time will tell. Only time will tell.
There's one type of man that is worse than a cheater. It is the man who performs like he is the good guy. He's disciplined, he's kind, he cares about his family. And then you find out he's a manipulative liar, driven by lust, with excuses for everything, but accountability for nothing.
Nice guys finish last.
That was
type vibe.
Type vibe, right? Which, like, a little bit leads into incel culture, if we're being honest.
Oh, that's a fancy word. I don't know what that is.
You know incels. Involuntarily celibates.
Oh.
The like men's rights people who are like, women don't like me, so I don't have to respect them. And it's just like, maybe that's why they don't like. If you actually focus on the real problems, which is that you're not working on your personality and like having interesting things to speak about and like reading and trying and watching new things and things that women actually like, because like you're not gonna like everything that's quote unquote made for women, but like a lot of it is better than men give it credit for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this like nice guys finish last like mentality is like the male pick me epidemic.
Clark it.
And it's like look, it's definitely something that like as a quote unquote nice guy who was fat and awkward, I definitely was like the primary demographic for it when I was younger. You know what I mean? Like I had a lot of women friends who told me very much like, yeah, you're such a good friend. If I could find a guy like you. And it, you know, there is that little bit of like, I'm a guy like me. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
right.
Am I not good enough for you?
But like realistically, like I was not very interesting. Like, I mean, just to be honest with you, like I was kind of funny. I was really nice. Like, but like those are very like baseline things to say about a person. Like I didn't have cool interests. I wasn't super confident. I was really insecure. Like those, when you boil it down to like women don't want nice guys finish last, it absolves the man of the like quote unquote burden of trying to make themselves more interesting to be someone that women would actually want to be with romantically. Because like I've only gotten bigger and more awkward since I was a little kid, but I got more interesting and more confident, and so I'm still able to pull
bad bitches. Excuse me.
Baddies.
Self-proclaimed good guys are not actually good. They're the exact opposite. If a man has to convince you by his words that he's a good man, chances are he's probably not. Good men do. They're action driven. They're not out here saying that they're a good man. You'll know when a man is a good man by his actions. And one of the main issues with a lot of self-proclaimed good guys or nice guys is that they think they're good men because they're not out here being abusive. They're not out here physically hurting women. They're not screaming, throwing plates, throwing tantrums, or any of that stuff. So they think that makes them a good man. But in all reality, they tend to overlook the quiet things that also matter. The random disappearing, the ghosting, leading a woman on. A failure to communicate while still expecting you to be available whenever they do decide to pop back in. That's not good man behavior. They'll call themselves a good man while ghosting a woman who they swore they cared about. They'll call themselves a good man while leading a woman on, stringing her along with intimacy, knowing damn well he wants nothing serious with her. That's not a good man. Once again, that's being manipulative. Dr. Craig Melkin, who's a well-known psychologist and an author, wrote a book called Rethinking Narcissism, and in there he explains what covert narcissism tends to look like. And a lot of men who claim to be good men in reality are just covert narcissists. A man who's a covert narcissist has the ability to come off as subtle, polite, socially acceptable. He may not be loud, he may not be boastful, he may not even brag too much, but he centers himself quietly and politely through emotional detachment, boundary pushing, and guilt tripping. And that is the epitome of covert narcissism. Being a good man is not just about not being violent. It's also about holding yourself accountable, being present, being honest, and being willing to self-reflect. It's not about what you don't do. It's about how you show up consistently and clearly. A lot of women are often quick to excuse the man who is a covert narcissist because he's not the worst. He's not out here screaming in public and getting abusive. But just because he's not doing that doesn't mean he's overall a decent man. Emotional availability is still harm. A willingness to neglect your emotions and invalidate you is still harm. Flakiness is still harm. Disappearance is still harm. You don't have to be abusive to be a bad person.
Wow, your husband is so nice. He pulled out all the stops for your anniversary, a weekend getaway, and that gorgeous bracelet. Girl, you are so lucky to have a man like him. Yeah, he's really something. Her husband is actually trash, but that lady would never know it, and here's why. He's actually abusive, but she protects him. She's punished if she shares how he really treats her, so she keeps quiet. This is a survival skill that too many victims know all too well. So when you hear someone say, your husband must be so amazing, it can feel like a gut punch. Their public persona is a far cry from who they really are behind closed doors. So as a result of this, victims feel like no one really understands them. It isolates them. It breeds doubt, shame, guilt, frustration. You fear that even if you bring up the abuse one day, no one will believe you because he's done such a good job at that nice guy persona. The image of a narcissist or an abuser is a carefully crafted mask. But understanding this is that first step to really cutting through all of that fog. You want to take steps to live in your reality, in the reality, not the distorted reality that the abuser has created.
I didn't divorce the nice guy, and I think that's why so many people struggled to understand why I left, because everybody loved him. Everybody thought he was funny, charming, helpful, easy to be around. And honestly, that used to mess with my head a little too, because I kept thinking if everybody else thinks he is such a good man, maybe I am the problem. But then I started thinking about moments like this. One night he told me to meet him for dinner. So I got ready, drove there, sat down, waited, and waited, and waited. Meanwhile, he was out drinking and got too drunk to even show up. And I remember sitting there alone at that restaurant trying so hard not to cry because I was so embarrassed. Embarrassed the waitress kept checking on me. Embarrassed people around me were starting to notice. Embarrassed I was once again sitting there feeling stupid for believing him. And the worst part, when I got upset about it, somehow I still ended up being the problem. And that's when I started realizing something. Nice guys don't repeatedly humiliate the woman that they love. Nice guys don't leave their wives emotionally starving while everybody else gets the best parts of them. That's a man who knew exactly how to be charming in public while slowly breaking the woman who loved him behind closed doors. And I think that's the hardest part for people to understand. You knew the version of him that benefited you. I lived with the version that destroyed me. He is such a good guy. He is not a narcissist. She's just crazy. Pump the brakes. Please educate yourself on what a narcissist and a sociopath is. Because superficial charm, that is what they do. They want you to believe that they are the good guy. And most likely you probably know that they're not a good guy. But you don't want to face that the survivor probably has a point. But calling them crazy means that you don't have to hold them accountable.
I just got done seeing this video where this lady was breaking down how it's hard to leave men when they present as like good guys, because they're not like abusive or like overtly abusive, and you know they show up when you tell them to show up and they do everything you ask them to do. And so you know it's like, well, to the world it's like, well, damn, you know, that's a good guy, right? But to a person in a relationship, to the woman in the relationship, that man is still not enough. And I really need for men to understand this. I remember a long time ago, before my nephew, beautiful person, one of the most beautiful people that I know, He struggled though early on in his employment, right? I did too, to be honest with you, but he struggled more than me. And I remember one time hearing this story from my brother, his father, about how he got fired from his most recent job. He had a decent job. It was at a grocery store, right? And the way he got fired was he wasn't a bad employee. Like, he wouldn't talk back. He was always on time. You know what I'm saying? So similar to the man, he was there. He was present, right? But one of his jobs was to collect the carts, right? And another one of his jobs was to bag groceries. So those were his two main jobs. The manager always had to tell him to bag the groceries or go get the carts. He never figured out how to do it on his own proactively without somebody telling him to do so. And guess what happened? He got fired. Was he a bad employee? Like, was he stealing? Was he stealing time? Would he be on his phone? And was he lazy? Nope. But when he wasn't told what to do, he would just stand around and wait. And I think we all could understand why he would be considered a bad employee in that instance, right? But men can't understand how you are a bad partner when you do the exact same thing in a relationship. Just because you're there doesn't make you a good partner. Just because you do what she asks you to do doesn't make you a good partner, right? You're still deficient because that is labor that you are putting onto her. Why do you need for her to tell you to clean up? Why do you need for her to tell you to help out? Why do you need for her to tell you she wants to talk to you more? Why don't you just show up? Why don't you be proactive? And if a woman grows tired and weary of that and she leaves you, she is well within her rights to do so. Like, that is actually a valid reason to leave a person.
All right, man, you're live. Go ahead.
Okay. I want to know, what is your take for when modern women say they want a good man, but then they go and choose dudes who just dog them out? They'll like cry about getting done wrong and cheated on and lied to, but when they either just use or ghost the guy who would actually treat them right.
Is this a general question or is this a situation with you?
Well, both. You know, I'll say it's happened to me, but even a lot of guys are seeing the same thing. They'll, you know, these girls, they'll get knocked up by pooking them, but then look over a guy who got himself together.
How old are you, man?
39.
Kids?
Nope, no kids.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm an electrical engineer for the past 15 years. I also do stocks and some crypto.
And what would you say is your type of woman, typically?
I wouldn't say I have a type necessarily, as long as she's fit and young, no baby daddies. You know, I don't really care how much money she makes, but, you know, basically she takes care of herself and brings me peace. That's good enough for me.
Okay, and you said those type of women are looking over you or ghosting you? Like, give me an example. What do you mean?
Okay, so, yeah, 2 weeks ago even, I went on a date with this one girl, and I actually lowered my standards a bit because she already had one kid. And, you know, I thought maybe I'll try something different. So I invited her to a nice restaurant, and I showed up on time. I dressed nice, had a fresh haircut. I even bought her flowers. But when the bill came and I paid for my food, she got upset, and she called her Uber home. And I've never heard from her again.
Wait, you said you paid for your food. Like, you didn't take care of the bill?
Well, I did end up paying the bill, of course, but I always just make sure the girl is willing to chip in if she has to on a first date. I just want to make sure she's not using me for a free meal.
So you tested her, and then she got offended and went home, right?
Yeah, I did, which that just let me know off the bat, like, she just another one of these chicks trying to use a guy, because if she was there for the date and not for charity, it shouldn't be a problem.
But you didn't take her on a date. You took her on an audition.
Not even. I guess I didn't want to be a simp, you know, that she could have used for money.
If you really got yourself together like you say you do, you're not gonna be worried about a woman using you for some pasta and salmon. Like, you acting like she asked you to pay her rent or something.
But her baby daddy, he doesn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. If anything, she should be grateful I even gave her my time.
Do you hear yourself right now?
What do you mean?
Like, you talking like you some type of prize. But all I'm hearing is that you're a bullet any intelligent woman would dodge, and rightfully so. Like, I'm glad she had enough sense to walk out on you, especially since she has a child to protect from thinking that men like you are normal or something.
Wait, how am I wrong for knowing my value and making sure I get someone who's in it for the right reason? That doesn't make any sense.
There's no value in a man who confuses condescension and standards. Like, you don't know your value, bro. You inflated it. Keep it real. You want a woman who loves herself so little, she'll abandon her own standards and keep herself so small that she's able to look up to you. That little engineering job that you're talking about, that don't cancel out the stench of entitlement and arrogance that you have. That's why women are ghosting you. They're not missing out on a good man. They missing out on a dysregulated nervous system, embarrassment, and a slow bleed of their self-respect. Because if you're good at anything, it's proven why a lot of women today are better off single.
This is what is referred to as the nice guy fallacy. In the words of Nicole Bedford, genuine nice guys who listen, respect women's choices, agency, autonomy, and boundaries always finish first, while fake nice guys will always finish last. Women have become adept at unmasking the fake nice guys, the men who call themselves one of the nice guys who really are not as polite and respectful as they believe themselves to be. They're the ones who convince themselves that women just don't want nice guys. It's easier than admitting you're the asshole. And yeah, using kindness as a tool to attract a woman, that's a manipulation tactic. You're not some romantic underdog. You're using the nice guy trope as merely a branding tool to showcase yourself as something and someone you actually aren't. And women see right through it. It's inauthentic. We can spot it from a mile away. We can smell it before you even round the corner. And regardless of how attractive you are on the outside, it's not going to make the inauthenticity more palatable. What's going to keep a woman around is what's on the inside. My husband, whom I've been married to for 22 years, is a very attractive man. I was easily and instantly attracted to him. But it was his sense of humor, his kindness to me, it was the ease of conversation, his wicked intelligence, it was the fact that he was respectful and he listened. He was confident but never arrogant. Those are the things that women find most attractive and keep women around. But it has to be authentic. It has to be who you are, not who you want her to believe you are. So if you think treating a woman like crap, being disrespectful, speaking to her inappropriately will attract her and keep her coming back, well, up to you. Because eventually she will see through that bullshit and drop your ass like a bad habit and likely take everything with her, as she should. And the men who harass women on the internet, make grape jokes, make violent comments, will never keep a woman around. It's 2024, honey. You better bring something more to the table than decent looks and a steady job, because women don't need you. So you better make sure they want you around.
Oh, if he was perfect, if he was great, if there's nothing wrong, why did you end it? Because when you know they're not your person, it's not fair to the man to keep having them pursue you when you know it's not going to work.
Yeah, we're the dumb ones in this scenario, but let's give you guys a recap. This girl made a video that is now deleted, shocker, where she says nobody really talks about this, but nobody talks about the fact that sometimes you got to break up with a guy who's a 10 out of 10. He's perfect in every single area, but you just know, you just can't, there's just something not there. So she ends up deleting the video and goes down the same sequence that all these girls do, where she blames it on the comments and how the men found the video. Yes, people who have a different opinion and could put themselves in the other person's shoes found the video, correct?
Everything ever is when men just love to have the audacity. You sound ridiculous, by the way.
Maybe he does sound ridiculous, but guess what? You also do. This is why you had to take the video down. Because you're going on a whole rant talking about how this guy was so perfect, but, at the same time, it's just a horrible thing to do to him because you're going to let him chase after you and you don't really feel it. Then he's not perfect. Then he's not a perfect guy. This is what I've noticed a lot of female relationship content creators do, is they always do this positive self-talk where it's nothing's ever their fault.
How many times I say it on my page, you are worth so much more than how that man is making you feel.
Let me say it again.
You don't have to say it again. It really wasn't that great of a quote. But anyways, this is my whole entire point. I've seen countless accounts like this where all they do is they give this positive self-talk where it's like, if he's making you feel bad, even though you might have possibly done something that made him feel bad, you know, you're worth it. You don't even know half of these people. You're really going to take advice from somebody who says, yeah, sometimes you just got to throw away a guy who's literally perfect in every area because you're just not feeling it. Then he's not perfect. And then you also are the one who sounds really, really dumb right now. Because if you felt like you were so confident in your opinion, why is the video gone? But as usual, like clockwork, when these girls make their videos and it finally hits a side of TikTok that didn't normally see their videos, they blame it on, oh, this hit the guy's side of TikTok. Because yes, men have empathy because they deal with women like you who will come up with whatever solution to be like, oh yeah, he was perfect, but you know, this is the real reason why. Like, no, you are the problem. I stitched a video literally 2 weeks ago of a girl saying the exact same thing that this girl said. She does exactly what this girl does. It hits the wrong side of TikTok and guys start holding her accountable. She deletes the video and then, you know, has to backtrack and be like, no, actually, it was because he was really toxic. And no, that's not what you said.
Like, how have I never been on a first date?
Probably because of your personality, but that's just my opinion. But hey, what do you think?
I had a good man last year. I let his ass go. He was a good man, but like I said, he was not my good man. He was everything that I mentioned. He did it, but in regards of what benefited him, and he demanded so much without considering who I am as a person. Mm-hmm. He paid for everything.
Okay.
Any problem you had, he fixed it.
Okay.
Sex, he was good.
You broke it off.
I broke it off. I ghosted him.
Okay, finish. Okay.
For the simple fact, he wanted to have somebody love him in he was the only child.
Okay.
So he wanted me to treat him as like his mother, hoping that I would be super affectionate, and I'm not. So that used to aggravate him to the point that he'll yell to the top of his lungs, I deserve to be loved like this. You absolutely do. So go find you somebody else that can do that for you, because I cannot hold you. I can't do that. That's not who I am. Okay. Affectionate. It's not that I wasn't affectionate. He wants me to be super affectionate, and that's not something that I am. And I it's like, even if I try, I'm fake.
I'm gonna say this and then I ain't gonna say nothing else. Look here. If you are a woman who's got yourself a good man, and you that same woman that's taking that good man for granted, oh child, I mean, you doing everything you think you big and bad enough to do. I mean, you out there carrying on because you know you got his heart. Let me tell you something, baby. I'm going to tell you, don't you make the mistake of getting out of his heart or losing his heart. Because if you do, you ain't getting him back. You ain't getting him back. Once a man is done with you, he done with you. It ain't like a woman. See, we allow you to come back. But once a man is done with you, he all the way done. Baby, I'm going to tell you something. If you got yourself a good man, you better behave yourself. Y'all here with your chest stuck out, thinking you got it going on. See, and I'm going to tell you something. Single women, it's a whole lot of us out here. I mean, it's millions of women out here that's got it going on. Got their own car, got their own homes, look good, smell good, work hard, do all the things they need to do. Honey, they got it going on. You hear me? Let me tell you something. We don't like y'all. We don't like women who got good men and don't know how to treat them right and take them for granted. We don't like y'all. See, because it's almost to us like wasting food, wasting a real good meal. See, that's what it's like to us. And let me tell you something. It's a problem. It's a problem because you are blessed to have yourself somebody that loves you, that wants to be with you, that wants to do things with you, that tells you he loves you, that's by your side, baby. When you got that, let me tell you something. You are blessed. Don't you take that for granted. Don't you take that for granted and be out here carrying on with your chest stuck out because you know you got his heart. I can promise you, you ever lose his heart, you in trouble, because you will never get back in his heart again, huh? And it'll be some wonderful woman out here just waiting for herself a good man like the one you take it for granted. And I'm gonna tell you something, she gonna get him. And when she get him, she gonna treat him right. And he ain't never gonna look your way. You understand me? So if you got a good one, I'm telling you right now, behave yourself. Behave yourself. Thank God. I ain't saying that as long as you a good woman too, hey, all that's good. All that's then. I ain't talking to you. But if you that little thing out here that's showing off, halfway giving them loving and divvying your loving out to them, and this, that, and the other, halfway giving them the attention, halfway cleaning the house, halfway fixing food, and I ain't saying that that's just a woman's job. I'm just saying if you are not being a partner, I know, I'm going to tell you right now, I know somebody who will. I know some women out here who will, so get your act together. I'm going to tell you something, because you are blessed if you got a man that loves you and is good to you. You understand me? Have an amazing
to say that some of us are trying to force relationships when we know they don't fit. It doesn't mean that the person is not good. It doesn't mean that they are not good-hearted people. It just means that they're not a good fit for you. So free them up. Don't continue to settle for things that you know is going to cause discomfort in the future. Me purchasing a size 6 shoe when I wear a 7 is discomfort.
So look, this is the thing, y'all. I'm going to make it sweet and short because everybody want to know what I feel. Look, I feel like at the end of the day, you don't have to take a person through as much stuff as she took this man through. What do I mean? Why would you allow someone to be with you to the point where they have asked you to marry them? You're engaged with them. You've accepted a ring from someone that you feel is not a perfect fit for you. That's wasting this man's time when you could have sat down so he could have seen the good women that were standing behind you, because a lot of women nowadays say they want a good man. They need a good man. But then when they get that good man, they don't want that good man. See, I'm starting to believe that most people only want what they are physically attracted to or what they're financially attracted to. See, she said in this video that he had so many amazing qualities, but she could not tell you why he was not a good fit. Now, she tried to use the analogy that he was like a pair of shoes, that she was a size 7 and he was a 6 and he just didn't fit. Well, see, the difference is when you went to go get those pair of shoes, you could see the size. You could see that they was a 6. Now it's up to you if you want to squeeze your feet in them 6 knowing you a 7. But when you're talking about a human being, the emotion, the physical attraction, you have to know what it is that makes that person not a fit for you. And if you can't tell me what it is that makes that person not a fit for you, it makes me believe that you as a woman was the issue. Was he not physically attractive enough for you? Because evidently it wasn't the financial bearing, because you accepted the ring. So that lets me know that the ring was a nice size, that you wore it on your finger for a while, to the point where you said, damn, I'm going to get a ring back. Well, let me explain something to you. If you at the store and you see a size 6, you're not even taking it out the store. If you a 7, you're not even picking it up and putting your money on it, because you already know it don't fit. What I don't understand is, why did you take this man through so much anguish? Now when he gets with another woman, he's damaged, he's confused, and he feels like she's going to do the same shit that you did. You're going to string him along, you're going to break his heart, and he may not even propose to the next woman because of a woman like you. When you could have told that brother at the door, we are just not a good fit. You didn't have to waste his time, because time is money, and money is something nobody has time to waste. Not to mention, he must have loved you. If he gave you a ring, he gave you a ring. Girl, it's women like you that make me say, the fuck is wrong with you?
One of the hardest things for a woman in a deep, long relationship or marriage can't admit is sometimes you can be with a man that checks every single box society told us matters. And still, something inside of her feels emotionally alone. I said it. He works hard. He's loyal. That's a big one. He comes home every night. He provides. Yep, he takes care of home. I'm talking to you. And because you're with a good man, you feel guilty for feeling this way. Because what more could you want? You start talking yourself out of your feelings, saying to yourself, well, maybe this is just what marriage is. We've been together a long time. All couples that's been together a long time feel this way. You know the difference between being loved, because of course there is love there, but you know the difference between being loved and being emotionally met. And that's a painful truth to carry, especially after so many years invested. After kids and the house and the careers and the commitment and all the things. That's a hard, heavy truth to carry. I know. I carried it for a long time. You're grieving the emotional connection that you kept or keep trying to create, right? Trying to create that emotional connection with someone who probably never even knew how to meet you there. You've always been hopeful. That's a hard one to shake.
We talk about how hard it is to leave the good guy. When you say, I want a divorce, and he's like, no, I want to work this out. Everything's going to be fine. You know, we can get through this. And he's so encouraged.
I will genuinely never understand this mindset. But of course, this is like a 2-minute video. So what else does she have to say?
Everything's just so fucking peachy keen, right? We talk about how I'm manipulated into staying because he's a good guy. He does nothing wrong. Like, the only thing he's guilty of is being lazy and, you know, not putting in effort like we did when we were in the beginning of our relationship, like any other marriage. He doesn't beat me, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't...
Women fall in love with the process of falling in love, and sometimes not even the person. Let me explain. The majority of women fall in love with the romantic side of a relationship where he's courting you, he's taking you on dates, maybe he's getting you gifts, he's putting in all of this effort to get you, and you expect him to continue this effort when life smacks you in the face, and it's an unrealistic expectation. Women have been brainwashed into believing that it's supposed to be Disneyland movie all of the time, and he is supposed to spend 95% of his time making you happy alongside working 60 hours. Maybe you added some kids in there, maintaining a house, and all of the things that they don't show you in a Disneyland movie. And the other part about it is so many women sit on the internet all day long and see everybody's highlight reel of what relationships are supposed to be like, so they start to believe that the grass is supposed to be greener on the other side. It is not manipulation if a man wants to work out a relationship with you. You should be thankful, because the majority of men that have an ungrateful partner at home would leave your ass and leave you with absolutely nothing and not want to try at all. And I can promise you the dating scene that you think is going to be better is not going to be. It's the same story every single time. These women put unrealistic expectations on the men. Well, they still don't put in the same effort. They're not having as much sex. Maybe they're not cleaning the house as much. They're not even doing the same things they did to get a man, to keep a man. And the biggest mistake that women make is that they don't go for compatibility, or if they even like this person, they're so focused on, oh, he bought me flowers. Oh, he took me on a date. Oh, he spent $500 on me. They are never looking at the person for who he is rather than what he's doing in the relationship. And then they fuck themselves because they wake up next to somebody after 10 years and they're like, who the fuck did I marry? Because we don't get along. I don't like anything about this person. The person that he really is isn't the person that I fell in love with. And it's because you fell in love with the idea of him and not for who he actually is. Okay, bye.
Sometimes it's not about leaving a bad person. It's just about leaving a relationship that doesn't feel good anymore.
In sickness and in health, till death do us part. Until you don't feel like it anymore.
There are a lot of valid reasons to walk away from a good guy. None of them make you a shitty person.
I've walked away from 3 good men and I'm not a shitty person.
Maybe you feel like roommates and you're just coexisting and not really connecting with each other.
This isn't something that you need to figure out and resolve now because it's likely going to be a problem that you bring with you into the next relationship. No.
You've become the caretaker in the relationship and you feel more like a mom than a partner.
Or maybe you both stopped acting like partners and one of you started to micromanage everything and treat the other one like a damn child.
Or maybe you just don't align anymore. Like you don't have the same goals or the same values.
He wants to stay married. You want to fuck other people.
The version of you who chose him just isn't who you are anymore.
That young, thin, attractive, fun, loyal version of you, that's not who you are anymore.
Leaving him, it doesn't mean that he's got to be some monster.
He doesn't have to be a monster. He just has to be not good enough.
You're just listening to your truth. You're just being honest with yourself.
Don't listen to your conscience. Listen to yourself.
To choose yourself, even when it's super uncomfortable, that takes a lot of fucking courage.
It takes a lot of fucking courage to choose selfishness.
It's okay to want more for yourself. And you're brave for not settling.
You should never settle for a relationship that requires any amount of hard work. You need to move on and keep searching for that perfect relationship with a spouse who has no flaws. I promise you that this actually exists in real life and you can find it.
If you made it to the end of this video, then you already know this is a conversation people need to be having. So don't leave quietly. Like this video, comment your thoughts below, share it with somebody who needs to hear it. Every interaction pushes this conversation further into the algorithm and helps this channel grow.
And it never makes me cry. I got a good man in